are you doing, guys and gals?
Dwarves and elves.
Welcome
to TableTalks.
So, I am Muse.
And I'm Kaya.
And this is the home for all things
nerd culture.
So, today what we thought we would do is we'd shoot a little video, let everybody kind of know who we are and what we're all about. And on this channel, you can kind of expect to see some product reviews,
LARP discussions.
There'll be Comic-Con walkthroughs, game reviews for you virtual role players.
How-to and cosmetic tutorials for our cosplayers.
Definitely. Magic the Gathering, Pokemon.
And pretty much every other thing to ever crawl out from the dark corners of the nerd kingdom.
So, here at Table Talks, we're going to try to bring you the latest, craziest. We're going to bring you a chance to look back on the historic nerd subjects that have brought us all here. And what I want you to do now is strap in.
Beam up.
And prepare yourselves for your wildest fantasy immersions, because this is Table Talks. So,
for a first video, what we thought we'd do is we'd bring you a list of some cold weather activities to keep you going until the springtime. It's one of the hardest seasons for those of us who are nerds in general.
Yeah, you know, it's cold outside. People want to come inside. They don't want to stay outside all the time. It kind of brings us away from our culture as opposed to putting us into it. But when I think of winter, the first thing that comes to my mind is television.
Yeah, television.
It's in the living room. Mm-hmm. It's next to the heater. It might be next to your fireplace.
Could be the lazy in us.
It could be the nerd. So what I think we should do here is we have some suggestions for things you might revisit as far as your TV watching privileges will take you. And Miranda had a really good idea. One of the seasons that we enjoy a lot and we want to see everybody go back to is
Once Upon a Time. So I'm a complete and total Disney nerd. And I love this song. Gets me going every time. Anyway, so one of the cool things about this show is it takes your classic Disney fairy tales and it kind of twists them and it throws them in a new light, adds new characters to them, and really just has a wholesome kind of all family feel about it.
Yeah, it's real wholesome. It's good for the family. Everybody can enjoy it. You know, there's some darkness to it. There's some lightness to it. It's got a good twist on Disney characters. I enjoyed it. I'm not a big Disney guy myself, but I really enjoy the show. I think Rumpelstiltskin's probably the coolest thing to ever happen to TV.
Oh yeah,
ever.
Best character of the whole show. Yeah, in my opinion.
Pretty good acting most of the time. I think, you know, later in this season when you get down a little
towards
ways,
the end.
Yeah. It kind of flounders a little bit, but it's really good, and it has a lot of good winter theme to it.
Yeah, quite a bit.
And so, you know, that's an enjoyable one to go back to.
And of course, it's set in a town in Maine, which is always cold and chilly because it's right on the coast and it's, you know, up north. So you always get to see some good fashion.
Right.
And the costuming in that show is incredible.
It's fantastic. If you're looking for ideas or something to draw from and you're kind of into
a great
that,
inspiration.
That's a great place to turn to.
The Evil Queen is probably the most stylish of any of the characters, and she's amazing.
So grab a coffee cup, get your hot chocolate together, you know, wrap up cozy, get on the couch, watch a little bit of that. And of course, I am not, like I said, I'm not a Disney guy. No. So I have another suggestion for you other not Disney people. And it sounds like this. What's that?
Vikings.
That's Vikings. That's right.
Yeah, Vikings. Definitely a great show.
There is nothing more winter, my opinion, nothing more winter than a bunch of Norsemen and axes in their boats in the cold of winter, trying to cross oceans to go places that they don't even know are there. It is.
And spending the winter by yourself in a shack to prove you're a man.
It's so good. He did, too.
He did.
So, it's a good show if you're into a little bit of blood, a little bit of action, a little bit of gore. You want a little bit more meat for your viewing. This is a good one.
And more history involved as well.
Yeah, a lot of the main characters are historically based. They're people that were alive. They did not do all the things that are in the show, but that's what makes the show great, is we have this chance to see them take history and kind of manipulate it to make it into something watchable.
It into,
And, it, you know, of course, I am Ragnar Lothbrok. I don't care. I don't care. I get that everywhere I go. People are like, no, you're not. And I'm like, no, I
Yeah,
am.
no, he really is.
I am.
Coming
that's
from
me.
living with him, yes, he is.
I only actually watched half the show because I die.
And
So
he
I had
stopped
no reason.
watching.
I had no reason to keep watching.
Which we're in the middle of rewatching it now, currently. Anyway,
So good, so good.
We're gonna make him watch all the way to the end.
Right, and of course, coffee, hot chocolate, those things are still good. Mead is now back on the table. Beer is a thing that we can enjoy with this. And you can really get your inner Viking out, and that means big bear furs and my horn full of Kool-Aid. So that's really a good one. I think that kind of sums up for TV suggestions. But not everybody wants to watch TV.
No, not everybody does. And there's a lot of other things that you can do. One of the favorite things in the wintertime that I always love to do is gather around the table with a favorite board game, or in my preference, my favorite tabletop LARP, which is, of course, D&D.
D&D.
I've been playing D&D since 2nd edition, I think. I'm showing my age here.
Who doesn't love a good game of I'm gonna kill all your characters because I'm always the dungeon master?
True. Yeah, it's fantastic, and I've been playing a long time. And D&D has a lot of versatility. There's a lot of different types of D&D.
Absolutely.
You know, you have Shadowrun and Pathfinder, and there's Star Wars tabletops.
There's just
based
so
on
much you can do with it.
So many.
And so since
much.
it's winter, one of my suggestions for D&D campaigning is make something for winter. If you're a dungeon master, go out there, winterize your game.
Yep.
Turn it into something that really brings people into the elements that they're living in. If you're a character in the game and you're playing it, think of a character like that. Try to put yourself in the season and have the spirit. All I'm saying is Santa Claus was definitely a barbarian.
Oh, totally.
Definitely a barbarian.
You know, and on the flip side of that, too, is if you have people who absolutely hate the winter, they hate being stuck inside, they don't like the snow if you're in an area that gets snow, you know, they're just not that kind of person, you can take them out of that.
Right.
By immersing them in a tabletop that maybe is set on a beach somewhere.
Right. So it gives you the versatility you need for
Mm-hmm.
winter. It's really available to you, and it's a great game. It's a good idea to just... You get all your friends together, you sit around the table, and you get to be who you want to be, whoever that is, for a little while. You know, sometimes you're that person for a year or for 2 years, every time you sit at the table, and you really develop a great character with great amounts of immersion into the game. And other times, you're me, and you make a wizard, and you live for 5 minutes before you make your second wizard.
Glass cannon.
You just remember you can write Junior at the end of a name.
True that. And you're out to avenge your father, immediate new character.
At least, you know, you don't have to re-roll everything. So, not always the greatest. Sometimes it's hard to be a wizard. So
now, for those of us that may not be familiar with D&D, there's a lighter side of D&D.
Right. So this is really something that I'm on to right now, guys. We have one back here. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. Munchkin. There are endless amounts of these expansions, entirely different game set plays. If you have the base game, it doesn't matter. Munchkin is fun. Munchkin is great. Munchkin is kind of like D&D.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's D&D light.
You're going to fight some monsters. It's a D&D light. I like that.
Yeah, D&D light.
I love that. It's D&D light.
No dice involved.
You draw cards.
You draw cards and you play the dungeon.
Rule set, very basic rule set. Anybody can play it. It's good for family and kids. You're gonna fight monsters. You're gonna open doors. You're gonna get loot. You're gonna equip stuff,
and you're gonna try to kill the other players.
You get to kill everyone else, or help them, if that's what you want to do, right? So there's a lot of stuff to do there. Most people, I think, watching this probably know what Munchkin is.
Yeah.
The expansions range anywhere from Rick and Morty, which that's a thing. I love that.
Yeah.
Marvel Universe. I've seen medieval stuff. I've seen outright D&D based sets where they do, like, you know, the cleric set, the wizard set, the ranger set. So this is a really great way to sit down and kind of play the same style of gaming in a shorter time frame.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more competitively, where you're not always working with your friends to accomplish a goal, and definitely just to have a good time. because I can't tell you how much I have enjoyed being able to
Mm-hmm.
play some Munchkin and to be able to say things like, I'm going to equip a rocket launcher with a hand on it, and then that hand's going to use a laser gun. That
Right.
is just cool to
Yeah,
say.
it's super
It's
fun.
really cool when it works.
Yeah. Another one that is D&D-esque, if I can get it out from behind my head here.
What do we got over here?
So we stumbled upon this
5-minute dungeon.
5-minute dungeon a while back, and it is a super cool secondary version of D&D, because you play through a basic D&D dungeon kind of ish, and you have a 5-minute time limit, and you have to beat the levels to get through it. So it's a quick game.
Yeah, I kind of explain it like Slapjack. Did you ever play that when you were a kid?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and they turn the card real fast, and
Yep.
you're trying to tag the card that's the jack. It was kind of the same thing. You're turning cards off of your friends. And everything has to stack up to a certain way to beat the monsters.
Yeah.
And then each boss is progressively more difficult. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but you should really try it. It's good for a good time. You get all your friends around the table, and the chaos ensues.
The chaos is crazy. We had to play through it. Well, it took us like 6 or 7 tries.
It took us 2 different groups of people.
Yeah, to get through the game, and it's supposed to take you 5 minutes. It's terrific. It's terrific.
It's wonderful.
And these
it
are
was
all
cheap, and I think this one, I'm positive 5-minute dungeon came not from the bookstore. It came from
Walmart. Yeah, from Walmart of all places, which was neat.
You could probably pick that up at Barnes and Noble.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you can get it on
Amazon.
Amazon, and I know they make an expansion.
Yeah,
for
they
it.
do make an expansion.
So if you're into those speed games,
yeah, and these are all great things to do in the winter for time killers. When it's too cold to go outside.
Yeah. So, of course, we need to get outside sometime.
Yes, that we do.
The winter happens.
Yeah, the winter
and
happens.
there's a lot of things we can do indoors. And we know that, you can visit Comic-Cons if they're around in your area. You can go to comic book conventions. You can go to art fairs. You can do a lot of stuff to get your inner nerd out.
Magic
but outside
tournaments, things
it's
like that.
always indoors when you go out, or it's just ridiculously cold and it's kind of a horrible experience. I'm a husky guy. It doesn't hurt me as much as it hurts other people, but I know some people, they can't go outside. They're in pain.
I'm a husky girl, but I have bone problems. I have knee problems. Cold makes me hurt, so trying to go outside is sometimes a bit of a pain in the butt in the cold, because it just hurts all the way around for some people.
Yeah,
but they're
generally not lovely. So how do you make your outdoor experience better? Well, one of the things that I know that I love to do, and I know she does.
Oh.
She'll drag me to this all day,
all the
every
time.
day.
All the time.
We LARP.
We LARP.
LARP action roleplay is actually a really, really great thing to do in the winter. Not so much the combative side of it, which it's never bad. If you're enjoying it, do it.
Yeah.
But it's good to get out, and it's nice to stay warm. So if we go out and we do live action roleplay, we get to dress ourselves up cosmetically so that we look like a character that we're portraying in a game.
Yep.
Some of that has some room to help us out, and I can go 2 ways. One way is you can live action roleplay indoors.
Yes, and one of my favorites for that, I've played it a long time, for an extended period of time, is Vampire the Masquerade, written by White Wolf. Originally, this was a tabletop LARP that has then been adapted to a live-action roleplay with a set of rules for live action.
I'm scared right now.
Why?
Did you say vampire?
Yeah.
Like
Vampire.
Like really scary vampires?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Lestat. He's actually a character in the Vampire the Masquerade.
Lady, that is the last thing I would ever... Huh?
It's like the guy sucking all the guy's blood out.
Yeah, most definitely.
You want people to do that for winter?
Oh, yeah, because here's the thing, guys, is Vampire the Masquerade, you can play in your house. You can play in a space that, you rent out if you have that kind of money, or you have somebody who has a big house and yard. The folks that I used to play with in Cruces, excuse me, pardon me, they had a big house with a big backyard, and they used every room of their house as different settings for you to go in and out of as your character.
Right. So things that I like about what I'm hearing and things I don't like. It's vampires, and I'm a scaredy little person. I do not deal with anything terrifying.
Says the guy who's playing Dead by Daylight right now.
That's different. I'm the bad guy. So things that I do like about it, vampire will bring you. I'm not unfamiliar. I just giving her a hard time is literally what I live for. So
Tell me
what
about it.
what I like about vampire is, like you mentioned, they use their whole backyard, they use the whole inside of the house. It is a tabletop game. You can actually sit down and play it tabletop. You can also play it live action. And so what that means is if you're playing in and outside of your house in a controlled instance, the house is nice and warm. The outside may not always be so warm, but you can transition between indoors and outdoors, and you get to portray yourself as a vampire.
Yep.
And so,
or as a werewolf. There are both in the universe.
Since I'm portraying the character, I can dress how I want.
Correct. Yeah,
And
trench coats,
since
ripped
it's kind of
jeans.
modern, you can get away with warmer clothes.
Yeah.
And
One of my favorite characters that I played through there is I played I can't remember what they're called at the moment, but they're more of an animalistic vampire. Like my character had bear ears and claws and animalistic eyes. And so I ran around in a pair of torn up, ripped up jeans and a white hoodie and a cap.
Not just to get my nerd out right now. Is that the Bruja?
Yes, thank you. Bruja. Ha, there it is. Found it.
So, yeah, and of course, you don the furs and become the other thing. So, in line with that, I actually have a LARP suggestion. And it's a pretty common LARP. I like Amped Guard.
Amped Guard, yeah.
I like Amped Guard. No metal weapons
are allowed.
So I don't
it's
have to worry
complete
about
boffer
getting
sport.
hit in crazy intensity, and I don't have to worry about wearing armor that can get too hot or too cold or cause me to catch pneumonia. And I get to role play a character that I'm going to create, and so I get to be who I want when I go. And of course, I'm Muse. Well, when Muse goes for Winter LARP, Muse is Viking.
Yeah, you're Viking and you're in
I'm
furs
a barbarian
and leathers and,
because I want to be warm.
Yep.
So I can dress warm.
Yep.
If you're a wizard, that's a great time to go get out the big wool cloak that's been hanging in the closet. You wrap
All
up,
summer.
bundle up, go out, throw some spell packets at people, do some verbals.
Aren't they spell balls?
The spell balls
packets?
for Amp Guard,
Yeah,
spell balls for
okay.
Amp Guard, spell packets for some
Same
other LARPs.
Yeah.
Pretty almost the same thing, except these don't have bird seed. They're usually like the foam
they're
Nerf
foam
balls
Nerf
wrapped
balls,
in
yeah.
cloth and stuff. So I really enjoy Amp Guard. I think
Yeah.
outdoor LARPing is a really good idea for winter because we, like I said, we can don
the cosmetics
that
and the
we
costuming
need to
and,
be comfortable. And that's
yeah,
just
and
that's always
you can,
fun.
And you can layer up underneath those things too.
Right.
So if you have your outer, what they call garb in LARPs, you have your outer garb, which is your character persona. There's nothing to say that you can't put a sweatshirt underneath it,
Right.
or sweatpants, pajama pants, Under Armour, things like that, to keep yourself warm
Right.
and still
So,
be able to be your character.
Yeah, you're getting to go out, be the nerd that you know you are, the nerd that pretty much everybody is.
They just don't want to
And
admit it.
If you aren't a nerd, that's because you haven't met me, or you haven't found the nerdy thing that you love yet.
because everybody has at least one.
We're here to help you.
Yeah.
We're gonna get you there. All right, so that goes from LARP, and we talked a little bit about like tabletoping, and we talked a little bit,
TV.
play Magic, stuff like that. We know people are gonna do video games.
Oh yeah, huge.
Kind of going back to
thing.
TV, but
Yeah.
being a little more interactive.
Yep.
Video games. It's a year-round thing.
Oh yeah.
But when winter comes, I notice that everybody comes inside. And since everybody's inside playing games, I don't always like to play the same games that everybody's playing. I don't mind playing.
because the servers get bogged down.
Yeah,
and
it can get kind of jumbled. So single-player experiences really shine in the winter.
In the winter.
You have long hours to play them, and you're pretty much going to be inside. So you want something immersive that really lets you get that inner role play out a little bit more.
Yeah. Most
And
definitely.
I know you play some video games.
Oh yeah, I do. And for a long time, I was a single player on video games for a long time.
Right, so you might actually have a little more experience single player
I've
than I do.
I've played a lot of single players, and I suppose my all-time favorite is the Final Fantasy series. And I lump that all together because
Final
they're
Fantasy.
virtually, I'm not going to say they're the same game because they're not, but they're all similar in their play style. Okay, so my all-time favorite is Final Fantasy VII, PS1 originally. That's what I originally played it on. I'm actually currently going through it again on my PlayStation 4 because they re-released it. And they're getting ready to do the remastered edition. So I'm playing through that. And what I find with... Yes! This was my ringtone for the longest time on my cell phone.
If you don't know that sound,
You're in trouble. Like, you should know that.
that is
Definitely.
iconic to video games.
Definitely. You know, and the Final Fantasy experience, whether you play 7, whether you play 10, whether you play 9, whether you play 15, whether you play 14, although that one we're not talking about, it is the redheaded stepchild.
Some had their ups, some had their downs,
yeah,
but the storyline has always been
always
good.
been great.
Very
always been great.
thick, very long-lived.
Yep.
The games are fun to play.
And what I've found, and I've played through multiple different Final Fantasies on multiple different occasions, is if I want to streamline the storyline just to get through the storyline, you can do that. Or you can get lost 4 days on side quests figuring out how to get that legendary weapon.
Who was your favorite character for Final Fantasy?
Oh, that one's tough. Favorite all-time character?
Yeah, you have to choose
of like
right
the
now.
whole franchise?
Right now, don't think about it.
Gun in my head?
Yeah.
Lightning. Final Fantasy 13.
Anyway.
Stop it.
Aerith was the best character ever. And after
excuse me, her name is Aerith. Thank you very much.
After she dies, it doesn't matter what they call her. You're heartbroken, and it's sad.
She was fantastic. I loved her. But you asked me for my all-time favorite.
Why wasn't she your favorite?
Because I felt like
I know what
there
happened.
wasn't enough.
No, I know. You're lying.
There wasn't enough.
You put you spent hours leveling her up, and then she died no matter what you did, huh?
Shut up.
It happens to the best of us.
To the best of us.
So,
to the best.
Just so you know, if you haven't played it before and you're thinking about taking the
Spoiler
suggestion,
alert! Spoiler alert!
She does
Spoiler
die.
Alert.
Do not
level her up for any reason. Don't do it.
Her up.
Don't do it. No matter what you do.
Figure out another way.
Yeah. So that's kind of my go-to in the winter is a Final Fantasy. I also like Fable 2 for that reason as well. Fable is one of my favorites as well.
You know what though?
First, my dear Witcher, we must establish ground rules.
Oh Lord.
That's right.
Witcher.
Ground rules will be established. Here's a suggestion. It's not I could say it's a better suggestion. I don't have to say it. You all know it.
Smartass.
Witcher 3. Super popular. Most people have played it. Most people have probably played it too much. You may not even want to play it again, but I'm suggesting it again. Now, here's a couple reasons for that. I feel like, in theme to a lot of the things I enjoy, it has the gravity of being meaty and husky, and there's a lot of fighting, and there's a lot of button combos.
Yeah, that's where you and I differ, is I like my stories to kind of be light and fluffy and move along, and you're more of a gritty player.
I do. I like it dark.
Yeah.
I like it gritty. I like it hard. I like, I want it difficult. I want it to be a little difficult. And there's some hang-ups and there's some positives to the game. On an old Xbox One, I've noticed that the loading screens are a little redundant. They're not real long. They're just real redundant. They like to kind of hang out and be like, oh, you made a choice? Loading screen. Oh, you made a choice? Loading screen. So there's that to get past. However, every choice you make matters and impacts the game. The choices are very in-depth.
Like Dragon Age, right?
Absolutely. Same thing. Like, it literally matters what you say.
See, I've never played Witcher.
It's super good. It's super good.
I might have to pick it up.
So here's one of the big reasons to look at it this winter. I am a diehard advocate for Xbox. Regardless of my feelings towards Microsoft all the time, I love Xbox. I love Xbox a lot right now because they just put Witcher 3 on the Game Pass, which means if you have Game Pass, you can pick the game up free of charge. And 95% of the add-ons available for the game are actually free. So you don't just get the complete game, you get the complete game with all of the add-ons that came with it. And there's 3 expansions, I think, that are available. And not a single expansion is more than $10 with the Game Pass bundle.
Game Pass,
so if you have Game Pass, it's really affordable. It's a good time. It's fun. It's clean. It's crisp. It's detailed. It's deep. It's a really enjoyable experience. And it just feels wintry. Now, if you don't mind, I have a runner-up game.
Oh?
Yeah. Skyrim.
Oy.
It's winter. It's in the
Literally
snow.
in the winter. Yeah.
There is no more winter game than making yourself a Nord, because they are the master race, and going out and being in that immersed experience, climbing mountains in the snow and fighting dragons and
and the newest iteration of Skyrim came with that patch on the graphics, and it is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
the game
if you haven't played
gorgeous.
It remastered, you're missing out a little bit.
And if you happen to have a 4K TV around there, play it on that. Seriously, it is the most amazing graphics
so good.
packet.
The difference.
Oh my god.
The difference is it's unbelievable how much better they did with the remastered edition of Skyrim.
Totally.
So that's our close runner up.
Yeah.
It's not my first go-to because almost literally everyone I know has played that game so much that they'll probably never pick it up again.
I've played like an hour's worth of it and got so lost.
You weren't lost.
I was lost. I was lost on a mountainside and couldn't get down.
It's not lost.
Literally
it's adventuring.
Lost.
It's adventure. You start the game and you turn around backwards. You just don't even walk towards the quest point. That's right. Well, which is not. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody, but it's a good suggestion.
Yeah, most
so
definitely.
that takes us out of games for the moment. So you know these are the suggestions that we can give you for the winter.
Now these suggestions, there are personal preferences, and of course everybody has their own, but these are what kind of gets us through our winter months, because we're very active in the spring and summer, with our live action role plays and, what we do. We bounce around the country. We travel to a lot of places to attend events. So we hope that this list of some of our favorite winter activities helps keep you busy, happy, warm, and nerdy this cold season that has descended upon us.
Right. Now is a good time. It's a great time. Gather by the fire, bundle up in the living room with your friends and your family. Enjoy the things that really make us who we are. We're nerd culture.
Yeah.
This is what we do, guys. So just because it's winter doesn't mean we
you
have to stop doing it.
So most definitely put on your sorting hats, guys.
Let the burn spells fly.
This...
Also, don't forget.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget.
I almost forgot.
This is the part of the video where everybody knows what we're actually going to say.
Right.
Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Make sure you click on the notification icon on your screen. You don't want to miss any of the new videos when they come out. We're going to try to offer you some new stuff, some better stuff. And with every video, with every like, with every share, you're helping us get a little farther. Make sure you leave a comment down below the video. Let us know anything that you want to hear us talk about, discuss, or anything that you'd like to see us review. We'll make sure that we do that as quickly as we can.
If you guys want to reach out a little more directly, we do have a Twitter, an Instagram, which we'll post in the comments underneath. We also have our email address, which is tabletalks.larp@gmail.com.
Correct.
And then we'll also post our personal emails underneath if you want to ask one or the other of us a direct question.
Yeah, if you have questions for us, make sure you reach out, comment,
Reach out.
Instagram, Facebook,
Twitter.
all the normal good stuff, guys. Like I said.
All that jazz.
Otherwise, this has been an episode
of
Table Talks.
It is beautiful.